Hi guys, I'm at Kashima today, which is basically the shrine here, and I've come to see the martial arts festival, so I'll try not to harp on too long so we can catch as much as possible. This might annoy a few people, so I'm going to say this quietly, but I always come to these things thinking, oh, I'm going to learn, you know, go deeper into Japanese martial arts and Japanese culture, and I always find them a bit boring and rubbish, to be honest. It's like, I know this is a debate from another video, but you always watch them and go, there's something real in there, but you're not doing it real. It wouldn't work in reality if you did it like that, but there's a truth in there somewhere. So I find this is a massive debate that we need to issue, is how realistic. Is this a true representation of Sengoku period or early Edo period martial arts, or is this a representation of, like, is this a, what's the word? A symbolic representation. Sekiguchi, you were here, weren't they, eh? No. I've just bumped into you. I met back in with Yamada Sensei. You're funny. I'm in the Sword Museum, guys. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to film or not, so I'm just giving a quick whiz by. Okay guys, just been talking to the lad from Sekiguchi Ryu, who I met a few times. Now, look at that nice background though, hold on. Look at that. You can tell you're in Japan when it's cedar trees everywhere and you can smell them a mile off. Right, just talking about the sitting down with a sword job. Do you remember all discussing it? Now, my personal theory is that it comes from when people used to do seppuku, and because people would be armed around them in case they rebelled against the order, or if you're capturing someone. That's the nearest I'm at the minute. But he was saying, which is great information, and I think probably much more correct than mine, is he was saying that in the mid-Edo period, they started to sit down because apparently the shogun changed the official sitting position from cross-legged to kneeling, and therefore they started doing it kneeling, and standing up kata dropped. So that means all these people before that rule, I'm going to go find it out, before that rule did it standing up, there was no sitting down. So that's another avenue to follow. I'll try and follow up on it when I can. Big long road. Sorry guys, I'm just not impressed by it. I'm starting, the more I watch Japanese Budo or Koryu, the more I'm starting to believe it's a symbolic representation as an actual combat style. And I think it's slightly changed now. I'm really pulling this down in my head. I don't think at all it represents anything that actual samurai did in the Sengoku period. I think it's become more of a symbolic representation. As the Haka war dance has become symbolic of war, I think Kobudo is symbolic of actual combat. I don't think it's meant to train you for actual combat, or I don't think it would do, maybe is a better way to phrase it. I'm really starting to love this fish on a stick job. Guys, they're showing the difference between the two sitting and standing forms. It's difficult to get them both in shot with everybody here. This would be an example of what that guy was saying. A sitting form and a standing form changed over time when that became the principal way of sitting. Yeah, it looks like they're doing the same. That may be answer our question, chaps. Did that answer it? Right guys, I'm going to shoot. To be honest, it's nowhere near over yet, but I'm a little bit bored, and I know if you're new to my channel you'll think, what, you know, you're in Japan, but I specifically come to Japan to find, like, you know, these things out, and to discover. I'm mega interested in Japanese culture. I understand how the Japanese think, I understand the way the Japanese are, but for some reason this absolutely bores me. It is not about fighting, and I discussed this with Yoshi last night, and I'm like, I'm here to find the truth of combat, of real, to the death fighting. And that, while I think this is hard to explain, but there's a golden thread left in that. I think Koryu are quite important in that. Inside that there's the key to unlocking what people used to fight like, but that's not how they used to fight. So for me, I think people overbelieve in the ability of Koryu or the way of Koryu, but so much changed from the year 1600 up until 1868. So much changed, and so many sort of like weakened. I'm a bit dubious has to just take that on face value, and I'm a little bit bored, so I'm going to go home, because reading scrolls is probably going to get me closer to the real samurai than this is. So sorry if that insults anyone, I don't mean to be insulting, but basically, no. I grew up on this stuff, and now you hear it's like, no. Right guys, I'm at the bus stop. I'm going to talk a bit louder now because I'm out of earshot of everyone. Right, what do I say? It's so difficult because it all normally pisses people off. It's like nobody can doubt my resolve. Even my, you know, hardened, you know, opposition cannot doubt the sincerity in which I have, or which I strive to find the truth of Japan. I absolutely am here trying to find ancient Japan, and it's almost impossible to find. And a lot of people jump to conclusions and say, oh, you've not looked in the right places, but I do. I look in exactly the right places, or not the right places, I look in the places where you would expect it. And old Koryu schools, old ceremonies, and what I always find is actually nothing about ancient Japan. I always find the end of the Edo period. So everybody mistakes the end of the Edo period for ancient Japan. It's not. What we've just seen is very much a post-1700 symbolic display of how they perceived war to be, and it's not the reality we're looking for. So while I don't think Koryu, see, the problem is Koryu meaning traditional old martial arts, necessarily we should have a differentiation between Koryu, i.e. Edo, and Koryu Sengoku or early Edo. You know, there's always that up to 1650 sort of line, or where sort of people are still alive from the older days. So I'm afraid, guys, I think the obvious place to look for ancient Japan is always Koryu, but it's actually not where you find it. So I'm coming to the conclusion, and it's quite a bit of a drastic, I'm not going to say emotional, because it's only, you know, history, but it's coming to an internal conclusion that no, it doesn't exist anymore. It's just not there. And that people do think it exists, but actually what they think exists is pretty much fake or a fantasy, or an idealized version of what they are after. So, you know, you get a lot of these people, especially Westerners like me. I came to Japan, and you go and sit in a dojo and you think you're learning these ancient arts. You're not really. You're learning some sort of fantasy-esque, you know. But I'm not going to say that for all of them. See, the problem is now everybody's now on the other end of this video going, getting angry, or like, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that there is truth in there, but it's buried. And I think people come to Japan and sit in a dojo and wear hakama, and they think they're, you know, and myself included, like, you're trying to find the truth of ancient samurai warfare. But I would say it's buried deep, and I think we collectively have a massive journey about uncovering it all. And I think not only are we at the beginning of the journey, we're actually not even started the digging. We've not even found the plot of land. So imagine we're trying to build a building, and the building is the truth about samurai warfare. We've not even discovered the plot where we should dig for the original remains to copy from. It's such a we're at such a initial stage, it's hard to describe. So all I can say to you guys is that don't try not to get pissed off too much with this video, but we've a long way to go, and we need direction first. And my trip to Japan this time, it's probably my 8th trip, I think, and I've spent 4 to 5 years living here. I've actually come to the conclusion that it's pretty much gone, and it's difficult to find. So guys, I hope you join me on the quest. It's going to take years and years, but I think it's going to be a long slog to get back to reality.